Well, welcome back to another edition of the Pitch Putt and Puff podcast. My name is Roger, aka RGB. Appreciate everybody tuning in here today. Before we get rolling, though, got to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Make sure you guys check out golfercbd.com. Use promo code PPP10 to save yourself 10% at checkout. Golfer CBD has a bunch of different options to offer you. They have the gummies, the creams, the spray. They have the performance cream, the recovery cream. I use the recovery cream all the time. Performance cream as well while you're on the course. The topicals are really where it's at. Truly a game changer with their patented delivery technology. They're strokes ahead of the competition, delivering 10 times more CBD directly to the muscles and joints than the traditional balms and creams. The Golfer CBD topicals are easy to apply on the course, absorb quickly, and do not leave any sticky residue. Making them the perfect addition to every golfer's essential toolkit. Make sure you check out golfercbd.com, promo code PPP10 to save yourself 10% at checkout. Also, locally here in the 518, check out 420 Bliss, located at 740 Hoosick Road, Troy, New York, right up in the Walmart Plaza. You don't feel like leaving the house, you can hop online at 420-bliss.com, place an order for delivery, or you can go on the app, now available in the App Store, just a little higher. Make sure you're looking at the 420 Bliss location. And then we got Trouble Off the Tee, troubleoffthetee.com, promo code RGB for 15% off site-wide, as well as promo code PUFF for buy one, get one free on the polos. Don't forget to check out troubleoffthetee.com or on Spotify for the book. Author is Marty Minden, narrated by Jake Adams from Country Club Adjacent. Make sure you guys go and check that out. I'm going to take a quick break here, and we will get into our guest. Welcome back to the Pitch Putt and Puff podcast. My name is Roger, a.k.a. RGB. I'd like to introduce our guest today. We have Jordan from Odin Golf. Jordan, thank you for joining the podcast, man. We got a little time difference here, but we made it happen.
Raj, we've been bobbing and weaving. Good to see you, man. Thanks for having me on. And, we've been jamming over the DMs. You're a massive fan. And we were chatting earlier about the epic group you got going in Albany. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, man, it's a good time. We got a good group of guys out here. But why don't you, they hear about us all the time. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Odin Golf?
So I'm dialing in here live from Berlin, Germany, grungy but sexy with Depeche Mode on every corner. Pretty wild place. I'm originally from the States, grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, so grew up in one of the, grateful for being in a golf mecca, grew up playing golf at an early age, but it was always something I did on the side. I never played competitively. I always had a get the job done swing between a 12 and a 14 handicap. And grew up in the States, went to school over there, and then moved to Berlin about 11 years ago to work in the tech scene out here, and started Odin out here as well, which we can get into. But we were jamming before. I was back a couple weeks ago in California and Minnesota for a couple of events that we put on. So yeah, it's a fun space to be in, man.
Nice. So were the events, you guys come to the States for a lot of events?
Yeah, so so we have two HQs for Odin. HQ1 is Berlin, where I'm at, and then HQ2 is Northern California. So if there's anything, let's say virtually, that I'm running from a business sense, I can do it here. And obviously I'm 9 hours ahead from Pacific Standard Time, so I'm up very late in my skivvies, doing work, whether it's the Instagram stuff or calling golf courses or fill in the blank of the many hats you have as a business owner. And then I try and get back a couple times a year because we have our Odin Social Club community that we have in addition to the products that we do. And it's I chat with people all the time. I'm sure you do too. We're hanging out on these digital watering holes, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. It's just great to get the band together in person. We get out, we hit the sticks, we have some pops, we grub, we jam, and being able to bottle up that magic that we have online, because if you think about all the amazing people we've met, there's obviously been a lot of crud, along the way. That just, there's always trappings with the social stuff, but there's a lot of just amazing, incredible people. And we said from day one, we want to cultivate that as part of the brand. And I think we've done a pretty good job doing that. And so that's when I go back, I always very intentional about doing a couple of events, and then obviously, try and hit the sticks and, get some content and that sort of thing.
Nice. Now, how did Odin start, and what are some of the product? I know you have the golf balls, but what are some of the products you guys offer?
So it's a bit of a wild backstory. So I moved to Berlin 11 years ago, and I worked in the consumer tech scene in Berlin. And in Berlin, if people are familiar with it, it's one of the big tech hubs in Europe. You know, there's London, there's Berlin, there's Stockholm, et cetera. And I grew up in the San Francisco area, so I was exposed to tech, and I, at an early age, was always building and tinkering with stuff, and loved software and loved that whole side. So I said, I want to do that, but in Europe. And so I talked my way into a job out in Berlin and worked in a company called Delivery Hero, which was like the DoorDash, Postmates of Europe and Asia,
Okay.
Latin America. So worked and helped build that company up, and then built a few other software companies. And are you familiar with how golf works in Germany?
No, not at all.
So you need a license to play out here.
Wow. Okay.
Which is wild. I mean, for us, the barrier is incredibly low. Someone in the U.S. can just pick a club up and start playing. Here, you essentially need to take what is akin to a DMV driving test. So you go to a course, you say, "Hey, I want to play golf." Okay, well, you need to basically try out for this license, and you play 18 holes, and there's someone in a golf cart following with a checklist. So it's like, can you parallel park? In this case, can you actually hit a club, and can you chip and putt, etc.? It's completely wild. I still, it's one of my biggest gripes of living out here. I love living out here, of course. So when I first moved here and I wanted to play, they're like, "Oh, you need a license."
Hmm.
And I basically like flipped them the bird, because I was like, "No, I'm not taking a license." Like I grew up playing muni golf, and
Right.
I'm not a country club person, but I was, at some point I told them, "Oh yeah, I'm a member of Pebble Beach." Like, no worries, even though I'm not, it doesn't exist. I just needed to get them off my ass, and they said, "Okay, yeah, yeah, all right, you can play." So I it's very expensive, it's very stuffy, and when you tell people you play golf out here, they look at you funny and say, "Oh, well, you're not 65 and retired and
Mm-hmm.
have a boatload of money," because it's just, that's the culture of golf out here. It's completely different than what we're used to. There's not people lighting up doobies and having
Mm-hmm.
pops and playing music, wearing a Hawaiian shirt or what, a t-shirt, whatever. It's very buttoned up. Everyone's wearing Titleists, and it's, you go out and you spend 15 grand on the Rolls Royce of everything A to Z, and
Yeah.
that's kind of golf out here. So not my jam. I grew up playing Muni hole 19. You're doing Eddie Money karaoke after, and
Right.
more blue collar. That's my vibe.
Right.
So what happened was, I said, I need to scratch this itch of playing golf. So Berlin is great because there's a ton of expats. It's a hodgepodge of Portuguese, Spanish, Brits, Kiwis, Aussies, Americans, everything under the sun. And I incubated with some friends and former colleagues who also were golf nuts but worked in the tech scene. So we incubated this local golf game, and we'd go out, in the summer. It gets dark at 10:30 here, so we do super twilight after work and play 18, and there's a schnitzel waiting for you on the other end, and
Nice.
a tall boy. So there were four of us on the course one day. And again, we're not amazing golfers, between 12 and 25 handicap,
Mm-hmm.
but we're shitting the bed that day. We're emptying our bags out, spraying darts all over, emptying marker material in the lake and the forest, and
Mm-hmm.
in a terrible round. We've all been there. We looked at each other and we're like, shit, why are we're losing? We just emptied out 50 euros, $50 of darts here. Why are we losing balls of brands that they're old, they're stuffy? They really don't speak to us as the next generation of golfers. First off, second off, digital natives. We're consuming golf in new and innovative ways. This is not the scene here
Mm-hmm.
for us as an everyday golfer. And like I said, I grew up playing muni golf, and you play whatever you see on TV,
Right.
essentially.
Right.
So we felt like there was a mismatch of, look, the pros are getting everything, and then us as everyday golfers are basically doing what the pros are doing, which is cool. Obviously, as a kid growing up, seeing Tiger and Phil and Payne and all those people playing stuff. So that was the mismatch, and we said we want to build this and the four of us were tech people. We built software, so we were thinking about we want to build a platform for the everyday golfer. So that was the impetus of the idea and Seed Crystal.
Okay. Okay. So how'd you come up with the name? What's the meaning behind the name?
Odin is the Nordic god of wisdom. I think it's the god of war. It's the
Mm-hmm.
quintessential Nordic god of many things. So we said, look, given Odin is the Nordic god of wisdom, and we started in Europe and Berlin, we want to pay homage to the European motherland. So that
Right.
was the first thing.
Okay.
And if you Google Odin, there's the Marvel Odin that everyone knows, but
Yep.
there's also the mythical Odin painting. And there's this mythical painting of Odin sitting on a throne, and he has a massive staff. And we said, "Fuck, that looks like a massive putter. Maybe this is a good match here." And our tagline, "Go balls out always," bold, edgy, the paint splatter on our boxes. We wanted something that was bold and fit that as an ethos. Four letters, look good on a ball, was bold. So if you look at our darts, the Odin lettering here is a little bit bolder on the ball. So that was really kind of what we came to, and it kind of stuck and fit very well with our brand.
Nice. Now, besides the golf balls, like, what is the hardest thing about getting into like manufacturing a golf ball itself? Like, how do you even start something like that?
Yeah. So what we did was we said we want to build a platform for the everyday golfer, and the idea and the thesis started with we what the pros get. We
Mm-hmm.
want to give to the everyday golfer. We don't give a shit about the pros. We give a shit about you.
Right.
And we said we actually want to not only give everyday golfers the quality ball that they get from a traditional brand, but as we say, reload without the guilt. You
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be dropping 50 beans on a dozen.
Yeah.
Save that $15, go get a bloody and a breakfast burrito. We want to give you the utility there. We already spend a shit ton on golf. Second off, we want to gamify golf for the everyday golfers. So we said from day one, we want to incubate the Odin Social Club community, giving people community first and foremost that they can vibe with and be a part of with the rest of the everyday golf scene, and then product second, the balls. And the four of us, given our software background, the way we tackled the balls was we said, what are the different personas and player types? You have the sticks, you have the middle of the road, 8 to 12, you have the 13 to 25, then you have the beginner golfers. What do each of those groups need utility wise? Because if you look at the traditional way in which golf balls and golf stuff has been marketed, very technical, very advanced thinking, really doesn't vibe well with everyone. Not everyone understands, triple tracked, double over engineered,
Right.
et
Right.
cetera, et cetera. No one gives a fuck about that. We want to go out and play. And there's a small group that do care about that, but most people don't. So that was the thing we didn't want to. We said, what do you as a different golfer want to get utility wise? Do you want a harder ball? Do you want a softer ball? Do you want to get spin? All those different things. And what we did was we took those different personas and worked backward. So, and the good news is we have different handicaps amongst the four of us. So we were able to figure out what those different personas look like. And then for like the really, really advanced stick players, we had, friends and family testing those out that we knew. So we found a manufacturing partner overseas and said, look, this is what we want. Can we execute this? And the other thing too is we didn't want to come out with 10 different models. We wanted to come out with two different models, and what we did, the X and the X1. So we spent 9 months testing everything under the sun, different prototypes, etc., figuring out the nuances of getting it to the point where the four of us, were comfortable in our own game, and then said, what would we pay for this? Essentially, again, utility, cost, and then equals the satisfaction as a customer for the product, and then there's the other stuff on top. So that's how we did it, and we came from a software world. This is hardware,
Right.
much more difficult. It's a physical good, a lot of moving pieces, very very fucking hard to get right,
Mm-hmm.
but we spent the time and we're meticulous about it. And then, if you look at our site and how we market it, it's, we try and keep it very simple, very understandable. There's no sense in trying to confuse people. So that's what we said, hey,
Right.
that's going to be important for us as a brand.
Right, because like I remember it was not too long ago. I wanted to say it was the TP5 and the TP5X, and I was looking at the box, literally trying to figure out what the hell the difference was, and it's pretty much the same. In my eyes, it's the same golf ball. I'm gonna lose it in the woods one way or the other. So
Right.
when you're looking at it, like, all right, I'm gonna spend 65 or I'm gonna spend 55, whatever the difference for that X on the ball or whatever the hell it may be, but like you don't even know what like what it's actually doing. Like a guy like me, I've been playing for 6, 7 years. I don't care.
Mm.
Just give me a golf ball. I mean, yeah, if I have a Titleist or a TaylorMade or something like that, I'll play it. But if not, I don't mind playing like a Bridgestone or a Callaway. It doesn't. It really truly doesn't matter that much to me because the way I play, um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not spinning. I don't know how to spin the ball, so the spin on like a chip shot or something's really not. We were just talking about this. I could barely keep the thing on the green with my chipping right
Mm-hmm.
now. So it's the little things
Yeah.
like that for a starting golfer. But there's also, like you said, I know guys that play that know what that means and know what they're looking for and how hard the ball is or the softness of the ball and this and that. And it makes a difference for some of them guys because of their swing speed or whatever the case may be.
I'm totally with you. And one of the things that we actually struggled a bit with is we said we're aimed at the everyday golfer, which is quite broad. And as a startup, really building an early fledgling company going from 0 to 1, you really want to keep it on the narrow side because you're limited on bandwidth, limited on resources. We've never had a marketing budget. We've always been champagne taste on a beer budget,
Mm-hmm.
bag of sand up a hill. We started quite broad, and we are still in a lot of ways quite broad. And we did bring in a lot of that persona, the sticks, those
Yep.
who are very meticulous about what they play, what they wear, etc. Many of them have been playing 20, 30 years in some cases. And we at some point had to grapple with that because that persona is much different than maybe you or I, who
Right.
we didn't really traditionally care what we played. We just wanted to have a good time. As long as it wasn't like hitting a rock and really felt good enough for us, we were comfortable. Well, that persona is sometimes has been hard for us to build for because we hear things like, you wouldn't believe the things I hear from people about, because we as golfers are very in our own heads. We were talking about it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing 5 or 6 days a week, but you may build in a habit, and there's a wheel spinning in your head about the swing and where to go, what you're wearing, are you going to eat on the course or not. There's been hundreds of examples of, like, I had someone the other day say, I love your ball. It's actually better than the Pro V1, but I need to look at cursive writing when I'm hitting. I can't look at your logo. I'm sorry. I just need to look at calligraphy, cursive writing. Or I need to be looking at a yellow ball. I need to throw it against a tree and then I need to hit it. That's part of my routine. And a lot of those kind of personas, like, it's that kind of stuff, because
Yeah.
we're
Yep.
we're 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 almost it's almost church and state about it, and you can see it manifesting at the macro level with Live and PGA Tour. That's very church and state. It's
Mm-hmm.
very meticulous and nuanced. In the grand scheme of things, does it really matter?
Right.
You know, but so that's the kind of stuff that we hear from the very, very stickler persona. And it's really no fault against that kind of. It's just, I grew up doing this. I grew
Right.
up watching Phil and Tiger, and I need to have a tucked in shirt. Completely cool, but
That's
that was the issue we had of going broad at the
yeah.
start.
And I get it too because like I'm the type of guy I grew up wearing Nike sneakers. I really don't wear
Yeah,
anything but Nike sneakers. It's just like I totally
yeah,
understand what you're saying there, um,
mm-hmm,
for sure. But you're also like what you're doing to golf is blowing up right now, as you know. Like
mm-hmm,
I go out
mm-hmm,
to the golf course during the week, and it's awesome to see. There's like one of the last groups out. There's 12 little kids. Maybe the oldest is 13, and they're all
mm-hmm,
carrying their bags. They can barely carry the
mm-hmm.
damn things, walking up the hills, but there's like 2 or 3 groups of them out there 2 or 3 days a week, and like that's, well, like you didn't see that before. You never seen kids out there. But like
Mm-hmm.
even like my friends who now they're not playing basketball and football and all this stuff anymore, they're starting to make it to the golf course, and everybody slowly, there's a lot of beginner golfers out there, but there's, like you said, every level. But with you guys, the splatter on the box and the balls and stuff like that, it's catching the eye. It's the more the trendy thing, what people are doing. You're always going to have
Mm-hmm.
like you said, you're always going to have your TaylorMade and your Titleist people. You're always going to have them. But if you can
Mm-hmm.
dive into that newer generation of guys coming in, that could be the ones where they're not going to TaylorMade and Titleist. They're coming to Odin kind of thing. And it's
Totally. Yeah, I love all of that. And the other area that we've run into the old guard, let's call it, is with golf courses. There's a ton of very forward-thinking golf courses, but there's a lot because we sell online, we sell on Amazon, Walmart, but we also sell in golf courses because the other thesis we had early on was we need to meet the everyday golfer where they're at, and they're at the local tracks, to build that brand recognition because it's a very social proof game, totally. And I love the example you said of wearing Nike kicks growing up. It's akin to the psychology of watching MJ growing up playing, or Ewing, or fill in the blank,
Mm-hmm.
Barkley. What are they wearing sneaker wise?
Right.
And then off the court. So it's the same thing. If someone goes to the course and sees products in the shop, there's a level of vetting that maybe they feel like these products have had, or there's a level of social proofing. Well, we ran into a lot of old guard courses that said things like, we love the traditional brands, we don't really want to rock the boat. It's a big behavior shift.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too is, and we even had a lot of those courses test the ball out, and again they said these are really great, we love the product, but we just can't get on board with what you're doing. So that was, I think, another struggle we had, was going broad. And but there were a lot of forward thinking courses, and a lot of them were kind of run by younger, let's say 45, 50 and below, who really understood what you're saying.
Right.
The old guard to the new guard changing, seeing the younger demographics, the younger generation come in, and they're wearing cool looking kicks, and maybe they're wearing collared shirts, but they have patterns on them, and
Right.
they're seeing the macro and micro environment change. So we've definitely run into that, but again, I think that's also a good sign that
Mm-hmm.
stuff needs a little bit of a shaking up, right?
Especially now, like just the way everything, like it's happening though. It's slowly, like I've been playing like
Hmm.
7 years. If before, if
Hmm.
you would go to a certain any particular course, you didn't have your shirt tucked in or whatever, they would come up, say something to you. Now you go to the course, you got shirts untucked, hats are backwards, music's going,
Hmm.
like it's like kind of like the, I think Live has helped that a little bit with like the
Hmm.
laid back
Yeah.
environment, and then people always see like the Waste Management Tour, and like that's what they want golf to be. But I don't think I'll ever get to that. But it's a lot more. It's just laid back out there now, and I think it makes it a lot more enjoyable for just the everyday people. Because like none of the people I play with are expecting to go on tour, anything like that.
Hmm.
We're out there to have a good time, get us escape from work and everything else we got going on in life, and that's really what it's all about in the small scheme of things when you look at it.
Yeah, totally. So when you started playing 6 or 7 years ago as a former baseball player, was it, this made like total logical sense? I went from baseball, I already have the swing, I already have the power, of transfer of the power of the bat to the driver. What did you start taking lessons, or did you just jump right into it?
No, so here's the crazy thing. When I was a baseball player, I batted left-handed. When I started
Oh,
golfing, I had no left-handed golf clubs. So I've trained myself to golf right-handed for the past
no
6 or 7 years.
kidding.
So I didn't really start to get comfortable. I'd say it was 2 years before I got really, really comfortable and like felt like my mechanics and my muscle memory was good enough to really get some power behind it. I'm hitting the ball. I hit the ball about 270. Sometimes I'll get it out there on a good day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's I switched it a little bit in high school baseball, but
Hmm.
there wasn't enough lefties to really have to worry about it. And
Hmm.
so if there was a lefty that threw gas, I was still staying on the left side because I didn't have the bat speed from the right to get it around.
Hmm.
That was the biggest process for me was adjusting that. But it took. I mean, I still had the baseball mentality though because I was moving my front foot and trying to keep my foot down. My one buddy, I'll never forget. He's like, dude, you look like Kirby Puckett. Remember Kirby used to lift the leg all the way up? He says,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta keep that foot still. But that was my biggest transition was just getting the mechanics of keeping a getting rid of the baseball swing. And then once I got the swing comfortable, then I worried about getting some power behind it. Like, dude, my driver used to go, if I was 150, 180 yards off the tee, I was happy. As long as it was
Hmm.
somewhere out there, I wasn't hitting a ground ball or something like that. And that was only
Yeah.
4 years ago. So when I look back now, where I'm hitting it now, well, sometimes it's a long way for sure. But
Yeah.
it was a struggle making that transition from left-handed
Mhm.
baseball to right-handed golfing for sure.
And did you also putt right-handed, or did you switch that up at all?
I putt right-handed as well. I can putt
Uh,
either way. Like I was actually mini golfing with my daughter the other day, and I was seeing if because they got the blade putter you can use either side. And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
practicing left-handed, so I can kind of putt either way. That feels normal.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
I feel you, and I love that you started picking up a club, and and it goes back to what I was talking about with the Germany thing. Like, that is a amazing example of what you did. Just pick it up, get into it,
Hmm.
self-taught, and work it out as you go. And I think you're seeing a lot of that too. I'm sure a lot of your buddies, and
Oh yeah.
you met a lot of people on the gram. Same thing. I can't tell you how many people are self-taught and just got into it, or they watched YouTube, or
Hmm.
watched online stuff. So I love seeing that.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I played a little bit. Same thing. I was using the right-handed clubs.
Mm,
The two guys I played with both ended up getting like college scholarships down in Florida and to play golf. So these guys are
mhm.
hitting the piping the ball down the middle. I'm looking in the woods all day. Back then, by the third or fourth hole, I'm just drinking the beer, smoking the doobs, and having a good
Right.
time. But
Yeah, I love that.
as I got older, I was like, all right, I want to continue to be competitive in something. I can't run up and down a football field or a basketball court my whole life. So what are we going to do?
Mhm.
And a good chunk of my friends were always got like, Raj, let's go play golf. I'm like, man, I don't want to play golf. That's for old people. The same thing you were saying where you are now. I had that mindset too.
Yeah.
It's for old people. Old people. Well, I'm that old person now, so we're gonna go out there. I'm 40. We're gonna go out there and start playing. So I started. Yeah, 34. I started. So about 6 years in, 6 7 years in.
Nice, man.
It's fun though, man. It's really cool because like golf. I always say this to people: golf, music, and cannabis are three things that bring people from all different walks of life together. You go to a golf course, you an immunity course especially, you go there, say you're going by yourself, you get paired up with three of the most random people. But you're out there playing golf, you're all doing the same thing, but by 3 4 holes in, you're bullshitting with them, cracking jokes and having a good time. 9 out of 10 times that's how it goes. So it's just and you guys could have the completely different religious views, political views. It doesn't matter. You're on that golf course, 18 holes, 4 hours. Nothing else matters. That's the cool thing about golf.
I know, man. I'm with you. What tell me talk to me through the on-course experience for you. You playing jams? What's the move for you?
So we're always I'm old school hip hop guy, 90s,
Mhm. Love it.
90s 2000s, mostly New York hip hop
Mhm.
rappers. Um, always got like the Jadakiss, the Biggie, the Cameron,
Mhm.
those kind of guys.
Mhm. Love it.
So yeah, but we got other guys. Like it's funny because there's that's another thing. Like when I'm putting those groups together for the pitch puff
Mhm.
crew with the 8 guys, some guys don't like music, some guys like music. So I
Mhm.
gotta kind of like some guys like a
Mhm.
certain type of music. So it's
Yeah.
all that goes into putting the groups together. But it's also to the point sometimes where I'm like, I screw it. You guys are gonna start playing golf together and linking up. And then you'll find out on Tuesday those two guys who don't like the same music or we were on the golf course together because they had a tee time. That's the cool thing too. Before I didn't really have people during the day because of my job. Hey, you want to go play golf? All my friends were working. Well, now
Mhm.
I got my man Fairway Mike, my buddy Hank. They're both retired. Hey, you guys want to
Mm.
play Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Boom, let's go. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're out there golfing. So it's fun. It's fun, man.
That's dope, man. Yeah, it's contending with the different on-course experiences. I'm always curious how people do it, and are you drinking, are you not? And I always love I kind of have this too. I was playing when I was back in California, like couple cold hats deep, a couple
Mm-hmm.
light beers, then you get the confidence, you get fueled up, and
Yep,
that's a good place to be. And no more and no less. So but then you forget all the bad mechanics that you have in the swing.
absolutely. That's what we so it's funny. We usually spark one up on the third hole. We call it our PEDs. We gotta get my swing juice, gotta get my
Yeah.
performance enhancers. And we
Yeah.
usually, we get through the first two. There's a par three on the second hole, so it always gets backed up. But once we get
Mhm.
to third hole, we got a little space. We'll fire one up there. And some guys are smokers, some guys are drinkers, some are both. But
Mhm.
we're out there puffing away, listening to some good tunes, and really just trying to have a good time, man. It's really what it's all about.
Oh man, I love that. The other thing I think about too sometimes is even losing the rhythm. Like for example, you're parked on the third tee and there's a massive backup. Do you find that like there's like a grace period to where you don't lose the rhythm.
I hate slow play. That's my biggest.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need to be in a rhythm. Like I think it's because of my like all my sports experience. Like basketball is a game of rhythm. Baseball
yeah.
not so much. Football is a game of rhythm. So like a lot of this like the stopping and going. Like I don't mind someone looking for the ball. You can still hit your shot while someone's looking for the ball kind of thing.
Mm,
It,
right.
the thing that irks me is when there's a group like you got to force them in front of you and there's like a
Hmm.
group of two behind you and there's two holes open up in front of them. Let us play through because I don't want to watch you play golf all day. I'm not here to watch you
Right.
play golf. I want to go play golf. So and a lot of times, like the old guard, they don't let us play through, and we'll look at us like
Hmm.
I don't know if it's because I got my music playing. Like, let me get my music. If you don't like it, let me get it out of here. I'll be 4 holes ahead of you in 20 minutes. So
Hmm.
that's slow play kills me. That is that's my biggest thing in golf that I hate is slow play. Let's
Yeah,
pick it up and let's go. Two
totally.
practice swings. Let's go.
Hmm.
Because
Right.
you overthink it, you probably get yourself in more trouble anyway.
Oh yeah, you're fucked. Just if you're thinking about it, you're waggling. Just get up, one,
Yep.
two. Yeah, that was always mind boggling for me. And again, don't take it too seriously here. I know we want to hit good shots and stuff, but yeah, if you didn't find it in the bushes, or just pick it up, keep
Yeah.
moving,
Keep moving.
get it back on the next one, right?
That's it. Now, do you got any? You got any events coming up here on the East Coast that you planning on coming out to next year at all?
You know, I've been meaning to get to the East Coast since the beginning. Obviously, we started in California, and California is a hotbed. East Coast is a hotbed, and
Mm-hmm.
in Arizona, and there's many hotbeds that we want to get to. Really, Raj, it's been just I've been just kind of a one man. The other three have always done Odin on the side, but I've been full time on it since day one. So I'm a one man band. So I'm naturally hard to get around, but we have quite a vibrant, community on the East Coast, and people that love Odin and have always said, "Hey, when are you coming out?" And so it's on the list,
All
and
right.
we'll definitely have to get you and the crew in the mix on that.
Let's do it, man. For sure. The boys would love it. We love doing
Yeah.
events and traveling and doing anything like that. We're down for it for sure. We got a couple of us making our way out to in November. We're trying to get out to California, play with the Legends Golf Club at they're out of the Inland
Oh,
Empire.
yeah.
So
Yes, of course.
we're
Do you
trying to
know
get out there.
when in November?
November 11th is the tournament. But
Okay.
I think we're looking at that Wednesday to get out there that Wednesday, and then we were gonna head out that Tuesday morning. So I got a couple of things
Okay.
I'm working on. I might make a podcast appearance or two out there with a couple people I've connected with. And then obviously, what we did is we actually started a New York Legends. So
Oh,
I'm
sick. Okay, I didn't know
yes.
that. That's dope, man.
So they have the Legends Golf Club in L.A., the IE. So
Mhm.
I linked up with Michael, the guy who runs that. I said, "Are you looking to
Mhm.
expand this at all? Because this is something really cool. We don't have golf clubs. Like the Pitch Putt and Puff is probably the only golf club technically like
Mhm.
up here. So yeah, let's do it." I said, "Because we don't have golf clubs up here. It'd be a different experience for some people." So obviously, all 10 of the Pitch Putt and Puff guys, a couple of guys from like there's an amateur tour that they do around here. A few of those guys have
Mm.
joined. So like the 4th of July, I did an event. There was about I think we had 28 guys out there, but
Mhm.
just slowly building it. Got to get the name out. Going to try to incorporate a couple like 2-man scramble tournaments for some afternoons here coming up, and just try to build it. It's going to take me a year or two to really get the name out, but I think people need to see an event or two to really buy into it and get behind it. But we'll get it where it needs to be. It's just going to be a grind.
Yeah, and the Legends crews, Michael and them, are amazing people. They're great, thick, Gabagool and all of
Oh, that's
them.
my
But
guy. Yeah, he's been on the podcast.
yeah.
He's cool as hell. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Thick's a great man. Yeah, he's an Odin faithful since the beginning, and I always try and see him when I'm back in California. And I think this seems like the next logical step for you. You've built an amazing base with the pod. You got the crew locally, in collabing with the Legends crew. So I'm excited for you, man. That's
Thanks,
dope.
man. Yeah, man. I'm trying to literally do it. It's crazy. I just hit 2,000 followers on Instagram.
Nice.
I
That's
was
great.
I was at 150 at Christmas time. So I wasn't interviewing
Wow.
guests. I was just talking to my friends about golf or current events or whatever for 20
Yeah.
minutes, half hour. Then I started getting into the guest thing. That's where I met Michael, like Brian Athey, let's see, who else have I had on here? I had May Brennan on here. I don't know if you know May Brennan. She's one of those golfer girls. That's like with Sabrina Adolfo and Carol Priscilla and all those girls there.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So like I'm a big conspiracy guy. So I had XG from Tinfoil Hat on here. He's from We Don't Smoke the Same as well. So like I've had some cool
Okay.
guests, and like just the people you meet, man. Like everybody's got a story. Like you, I'm talking to you in Germany right now. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. I
Without
know,
this
man. It's pretty
podcast,
wild, dude.
it's nuts. You just try to build like people. My whole thing is too like I won't really ever chase people. Like I knew you were interested. Like if you didn't show me interest and you're like, oh yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow about it. I would have gave up. But I could tell like when I talked to you and I heard you did the voice message, so I could hear you were actually interested opposed to reading something. Like I don't really chase people because if you don't want to mess with me, then there's a reason for it. So okay, I'll move on. There's other relationships out there and there's other stories I want to hear. So like
Right.
I'm never one that's gonna be like, oh, please come on my podcast, please come on my podcast. I'll never chase. I'll never chase.
Well, I got to tell you, when I got the message, I was incredibly excited and giddy, and I always love jamming and shooting the shit. So you don't have to twist my arm for that.
Yep.
And I'm totally with you. I this is my other struggle, and I talk to a ton of other people, and I'm sure you do too, struggling with um, the online scene of just social media in general. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, there is an unfortunate side of that, of, the scene that we're in. It's not everything. It's always less than 1%, but it sometimes feels like it's crowding over everything else. But I try and keep it in perspective of like, look, there's amazing people like you, Raj, that we've connected here. It's 6 hour difference.
Yeah.
The Legends crew, Thick, all these amazing people. So I try and keep it in perspective. I know it's hard because we have really good intentions, but sometimes, like all the people I've dealt with that maybe were a bit cruddy or et cetera. I know everyone has a struggle in life, but I feel bad sometimes because we have good intentions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I've struggled with that.
Yeah, it's tough too. Like with me on the Instagram and the social thing, like my hardest thing is I get shadow banned a lot. I'll post something like I had the different logo.
Oh man.
I had this logo behind me was my original logo. I had to
Uh
change that
huh.
because of the golf ball smoking the joint. So now I have them hiding it to make it look like
Oh.
a golf tee over there. So then it was just like a microphone with the smoke. So like, for example, me and my buddy posted the same video. This was months ago, and
Mm-hmm.
we had the same exact video we posted at the same time. We had around the same amount of followers. His video got 100 and some odd thousand views. Mine got like 800 views. Same video, same time, same everything. So like at
Yeah.
that point, I knew I wasn't catching the right algorithms. And sometimes I'll post a video, and it will be flagged for something. I'll hop on Instagram in the morning, and the other day I had a video from October flagged. I'm like, either someone's going back in there and purposely doing this to me right now,
Yeah.
or they're digging. So I don't know what it is, but
Oh.
for me, I kept getting followers. Here's a perfect example. I was stuck at like 1,985 followers for like
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks until recently, and I would gain 5 followers. I would get on there, and it would still be at 1985. I'm like, what's happening here? Like, I'm not selling heroin or anything. I'm smoking a
I
joint on a
know.
golf course. You know what I mean? It's
I know.
nuts,
We're just trying to do our thing. Yeah, man.
and it's
The
legal in
whole
about 40 states. I mean, come on.
totally. I'm with you. It's mind boggling. And this is the other thing I kind of jam with other people who have pages. Like, we spend 10 hours editing a reel and 10 people see it. And then the other thing is like, we'll just throw something out there and then it gets a bunch of,
Yep.
is really all over the place. And what you're saying too, the shadow banning thing, I've heard that from a lot of people. Like, yeah, why are only 900 people seeing this? It's
Mm-hmm.
we spent a lot of time on it. We feed
I've
the
had
beast, I guess.
I've had videos that got more likes than views, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, how is
that
that
makes total
possible?
sense.
How am I
Yeah,
going to get more likes on a video than people that seen it? That doesn't. It's not even.
right.
It's crazy.
I know, man.
It's nuts.
We're
Absolutely
just
nuts.
fighting the good fight, huh, Raj?
That's it. That's it. But let me wrap this up with 3 questions real quick, Jordan. I always like to wrap up here. What's your favorite club in your golf bag?
My rusty Cleveland 56 from 1998 with still the original grip.
Wow, I got a 60 degree just like that.
So
Rusty as
you know
shit.
what I'm saying, man.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't get rid of it. I call it my garage sale
Yeah.
club. I cannot get rid of this thing. My buddy's
Oh
like, dude,
man.
I got some wedges you can have, man. I'm like, nah, bro. You could send me a brand new whatever type of wedge you want, top of the line. I'm probably still gonna bust this thing out with the little athletic tape I got at the one end of the grip right now. I love it.
And herein lies the quirks that we as golfers have.
Yep.
The technology is leaps and bounds ahead. We probably aren't doing ourselves any favors by playing those clubs, but
Nope.
fuck, man, we love it. Keeps
It's
us coming
perfect.
back. It's like that little hit, holding
Yep.
on to the OG-ness, right?
That's it. I love that club. It was literally the first. I used to take that club when I first started playing, and just flop shot across my driveway, back and forth, back and forth. So I still do it all the time. I'm out there flopping that thing. Love it.
Yeah.
Um. So I'm assuming you played a lot of courses. What's your favorite course you've ever played?
The course that I love, there's a course called Deep Cliff Golf Course in Cupertino. We've had a couple Odin events there. It's quintessential classic Muni. I grew up there in the early '90s to late '90s. I was a range rat there. I was a marshal there. Worked in the shop. I think it's those memories, and it's a really great, in Northern California, in Cupertino against the Redwoods. It's like an executive 18. Every time I go back there, I have a magic. Now, it's maybe not the most wild and crazy answer, like most people would say Pebble Beach or
Right, right.
Pacific Grove or something, but it's that Muni that is just every time it's like lightning in a bottle. Get the koozie out, get a couple tall boys,
Mm-hmm.
and you're off to the races.
That's the thing. I love this question because it's really open ended. It doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite course you ever played or the most beautiful course. It's the one that literally is the one that your favorite. Like that's the one course. If I had to choose any course I go play, that's where I want to go. Your reason, nostalgic, and everything else. Like I totally get that. That's I
Hmm.
haven't had the experience of playing like a bunch of courses and traveling in the short 6 years. I did play a course in Aruba. That was a cool atmosphere and stuff. Playing on the ocean, and then we played a course down in Texas for my buddy's I think it was the wedding down there.
Hmm.
We had like 30 guys out there on the course. It was just like a party. It was like a live scene pretty much. So it was a
Yeah.
lot of that was just like fun experience. Course was
Oh, that's
beautiful.
sick.
You got cactuses. We're used to pine trees, so playing around
Mm.
cactuses and stuff like that was really
Hmm.
cool. Really
Oh,
cool.
that's great. Yeah, I love that.
And then the last question is, if you could add three people to your dream foursome, who are they?
I would probably do Phil the Thrill,
Okay.
just because I went to ASU, he's a fellow ASU guy. I think he'd be a ton of fun. I'd probably, just for the dynamic, I'd probably add Barkley in there.
Okay.
And then I'd probably add my brother too. Just he growing up playing with him, and we grew up watching Phil and Tiger. So probably I'd go with those, and it would just be for the vibes.
Yep. Yep.
Just the scene, all the hearing about all the old Vegas gambling stories and
Oh yeah.
all the stuff through the '90s. That again, nostalgic, scratching
Mm-hmm.
that itch.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, mine are. I always change mine up, but mine would be. I was a big basketball fan growing up. You might remember this guy from being out there in California. Was Jason Williams used to play for the Kings, White Chocolate.
Of course,
So
yep.
that's my
Hmm.
guy. Jay Will was one. He's my favorite
Hmm.
player all time. Um, I definitely would like to get Tiger Woods out there to maybe help me
Hmm.
learn a thing or two. And I always go back and forth with my third one. It was Jordan, but I think I would need some comedic relief. So I think Bill Murray would probably be my guy. Be the
Oh, that's a great call. That would be a scene.
yeah,
That
that'd
would
be
be
a
a
good time.
scene. Yeah, great call. I love that.
Yeah, I just watched the new Ghostbusters movie with my daughter the other day, and Bill Murray. I go, that would be a better guy to think to have in there than Jordan because it would break up the seriousness of the day, and we'd be out there having a good time. Because Jordan's gonna want to put 100 racks of swing on a swing.
Oh yeah,
He's a big
yeah. And then you
big
got the
gambler.
analog kind of Bill Murray. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
What's your top two or three Bill Murray movies?
oh, I'm a big. I gotta go Ghostbusters. You can just put those
Yeah.
together. I was always a huge Ghostbusters fan as a little kid.
Hmm.
Another one. I mean, he was great in Space Jam. I loved him in Space Jam too. But
Mm-hmm.
Groundhog's Day. I don't know what it was about that
Mm-hmm.
movie as a kid. Every time that movie's on, I watch it. I don't know why, but every time the movie's
Mm.
like if I'm doom scrolling on the TV and I find that, I stop there for whatever reason. It's that. The other movie I have like that is League of Their Own. For whatever reason, Tom Hanks, League of
Mm.
Their Own. If that's on TV, I'll stop and watch it. Don't know why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's the ultimate rewatchables list. You know,
Yep.
those are very two good contenders. There's two that I recently rewatched Bill Murray movies. One, Lost in Translation,
Okay. Yep.
early aught Sofia Coppola. You know, more dramatic role. The second one, Rushmore, Wes
Okay. Yeah.
Anderson, Jason
Yeah.
Schwartzman. Yeah,
Yeah.
another kind of great one. I mean, he's had many good ones.
Oh, so many.
And then obviously love him in Caddyshack.
Yeah, guys. You
Um,
know what's crazy though? I never seen Caddyshack.
no
I've
kidding.
yeah,
Okay.
I never seen Cat. I've watched like the clips and I know some of the things. That's why I didn't say
Hmm.
Caddyshack because I've never seen it. But
Okay.
that would have been the other one probably. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
watch that
that
today.
that
We're supposed to get some rain this afternoon. Maybe I'll pop that on today.
shit, man. Pop a couple flicks on, you know,
Yeah,
just get a couple Albany specials, and
yeah, that's it.
there you go, man. Yeah, I love those. You're just flipping the TV and it's halfway through. You're like, fuck, I can, you know, like Training Day is another good one. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm all in, baby. Here we
just
go.
just watching it. Yep, for sure,
Yeah, yeah, dude.
for sure.
But yeah, Bill Murray's got a lot of great ones. Yeah, Groundhog Day is great. Yeah, man, I'm totally with you. I love that call for that foursome though.
Yeah, yeah. It's tough to think about, especially when you get put on the spot. I have time to think about it, so I'm a little
Mm.
get the little advantage. But Jordan, I really appreciate your time, man. Where can everybody find you guys?
You can hit me up anytime, Jordan at odin-golf.com if you want to jam, shoot the shit. I run the Instagram page, so feel free to message us. You can also, you know, if you want to reload us some darts, we have our X and X1, odin-golf.com. We also just launched glow balls too, which is really
Oh,
cool.
cool.
And that was another thing that came from the community. We had a glow ball event. We did a limited launch of some glow balls. People love them. So we said, you know, let's get them out the door. That's the other thing too, is we don't spend a lot of time on, you know, building stuff in private for 10 months and then do a massive, you know, R&D launch or whatever. We just say, hey, people, the community loves it, get it out the door, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, our software background. So you can do that. And yeah, you know, and we'll have to get you out to an event, man. You and
Absolutely.
the crew. So obviously we'll keep the line open and all of that, but thank you for all that you do for the community. You know, we're all rooting for you, and
Thank you.
you know, grateful to be on here and jamming with you.
Awesome. I truly appreciate your time. Make sure everybody goes and check out Odin Golf. And when you get to the East Coast, man, make sure you let me know and we'll make something happen.
Hell yeah, man! Can't wait.
Sounds good. Well, all right, everybody, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Later. Thank you to Jordan for jumping on, taking the time when he's out in Germany. I'm here in upstate New York, so to make that work is really cool. Tried to catch him when he was in the States, but the timing just didn't work out. Before we wrap up, though, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors. We got golfercbd.com. Check out golfercbd.com. Promo code PPP10 to save yourself 10% at checkout. They have a bunch of different options, but the topicals are really where it's at. They're truly a game changer. Strokes ahead of the competition. With their patented delivery technology, they're a little bit different than all the other bombs and creams. The Golfer CBD topicals are easy to apply in the course, absorb quickly, and do not leave any sticky residue. So make sure you guys check out golfercbd.com. Promo code PPP10 to save yourself 10% at checkout. Locally, don't forget to check out 420 Bliss, 740 Hoosick Road in Troy, New York. Also have the app just a little higher and available online at 420-bliss.com. And don't forget Trouble Off the Tee, TroubleOffTheTee.com, promo code RGB for 15% off site wide, and then promo code PUFF for buy one, get one free on the polos. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will be back on Friday with a preview of the upcoming weekend. Later.